What's up, Jumpsteady? How you doing on this fine day?
I'm doing great, thank you. How
Good.
You?
I'm doing pretty good. You know, I wish there was some snow on the ground, but it's coming soon, I hear.
It's all about the end of the world, you know. The ozone layer is depleting, and
I swear to God, I watched an Ancient Aliens.
If the 21st doesn't get to us first.
Right.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, considering all that, we're doing okay.
Right. Oh yeah.
Well, I'm super glad you're back here at Psychopathic. I was here a little bit when you were here before.
Oh yeah.
And you always brought a lot of karma and good ideas, and I just really want to talk about your reasons for leaving Psychopathic in the first place.
It's kind of like a long story, but basically, I was working for Psychopathic for about 13 years, and it was going great. Fucking loved it. You know, loved all the juggalos, and loved the karma that I got for providing entertainment for the family and everything, which I always was always like my main motivation for working at the label.
Yes.
And then that all came down to Psychopathic Europe, which was the sister company that we decided to start up. It was really Alex's kind of idea from the beginning. It was his vision to start up a sister company over in Europe and start getting things running over there.
Some of the lows and lets might not be aware that was something that happened in the past. Psychopathic Europe.
Yeah. So basically, we had juggalos. We're kind of like there was a lot of juggalos over there in Europe, and it was kind of setting off over there, and a little, not as big as it was in America.
And that was right after the European and Australian tour.
Yeah. So it started getting things stirring over there.
Yeah.
So anyway, I went over there. Well, actually, sorry, I didn't go over there. Initially, there was another guy that worked here at Psychopathic that was going to head up over there, and Alex initially approached me with the idea of like heading up Psychopathic Europe, and I told him no, because I didn't want to be away from my family, my daughter, my wife for that long a time, because it was basically you had to commit to a year to go over there.
Right.
So he, basically he approached me, and I told him no. So he got this other guy that worked at the label at the time. I'm not going to mention his name,
Okay.
But anyway, he was putting it all together. He spent a year getting everything from the European employees to the warehouse to the car to an apartment, distribution. He spent a whole year getting everything together before he finally went over there. So then he went over there, and basically we found out he only lasted one day over there because we found out that he was a crackhead.
Dang.
Yeah. And when he got
like a straight up drug addict?
Yeah, straight up drug addict. When he got off the plane, the first thing he asked the European employees over there was where he could get his drugs, and they were kind of shocked, like, whoa, what's going on with that,
Right,
like,
he's supposed to be professional.
Right, and he's all he's asking them about is like, where he can get these drugs at, right, which the drugs he was addicted to. So they were like, man, we don't know, we're not crackheads. So,
they were like, who did they just send over?
Right, so the guy basically came straight back because he couldn't get his drug fix.
Okay.
So then Alex came to me and he was like, man, we got to send you over there. You're the only one remotely qualified to go over there. So I was like, all right, I'll do it, because, all this time and money has already been sunk into the project. They didn't have anybody else. So I was like, all right, I'll go over there. So went over there, started running Psychopathic Europe. Now, the only ones helping me were Paul and Steve at the time. They were like the main guys working over there. They're European juggalos, mad fresh, you know what I'm saying? Some people might know Paul as ATF,
Yep.
So anyway, we started running things over there, and at first it was okay, but then it became very stressful, because you're talking about running a company from the ground up in a foreign country.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
And you're the only one from America
right.
Psychopathic there.
So, and then to make matters worse, Alex, at first he was a little supportive, but then it got to a point where he wasn't supportive at all, And now Alex is a really good friend of mine, and as far as I'm concerned, he always will be. I know there's a lot of allegations against him and speculation.
There's a whole book on that, but that's really another story.
Oh, good. It's that later.
It's nice to hear that you guys are on good terms.
Right, but in this
he was
case,
a part of Psychopathic for a long time.
And we grew up together and stuff. But anyway, in this case, he was kind of whack, because he wasn't sending over enough money to keep it running. And he also wasn't really returning a lot of my calls, because I constantly had to bother him for advice on what I should be doing, and because I was really in over my head, you know what I mean? Like, I'll admit to that. But at one point, it got so bad at one point that I had to borrow money from my own employees just so I could eat. You know what I mean? Because I would be waiting on like money being sent over for sometimes like a month. Right. You know, and we were trying to.
It sounds like you just weren't the priority.
No, and you know, it's understandable because everybody in America is so busy, you know, just running the label over here. Mm-hmm. So in one sense I got it, but in another sense I didn't.
Well, personally, I'm sure you felt, you know.
Yeah, and it wasn't really my idea to begin with, so it was just really stressful because I'm trying to run this company in a foreign country with no money, you know, and no support, you know.
So did that kind of...
The only ones that supported it really was my brother Joe. Like, he was super supportive all the time. In fact, he came over and spent like 3 weeks over there. And there was a couple other ninjas like Tom. We call him Tom 2 over here. He still works here.
Tom Lumberg.
Yeah, he came over and helped out for a couple weeks, you know. Mm-hmm. So there were some ninjas that were supportive, but there was also a lot of ninjas that I was dealing at the office at the time that weren't, and none of those people work here anymore. So
it's telling. No, it sounds like not only your karma was dwindling, but on a personal level, it was taking a personal toll on you.
Yeah. So in the end, you know, I basically cracked. Like an egg, you know. I mean,
you're just done.
The pressure was so great, you know, and I was talking to Alex about it, and I was like, look, you know, this is kind of like your vision to begin with. You're not sending enough money to keep this thing running. You're not supporting me or even taking most of my calls, you know, when I need advice or help, you know. And, you know, I was like, you got to make the call on this thing because, you know, and it was a big money pit, you know. Psychopathic Europe never really took off, you know. And I told them that, you know, in order for it to take off correctly, it would probably be about a couple of years of work, right? And it'll be a money pit that whole time. You know what I mean? Because you got it
like any other business,
right? Exactly. It takes money,
put time, effort, and money into
it takes money to make money. So we'd have to put like, you know, we'd have to continue promoting, putting on shows, you know, doing everything to get it up to where it is over here in the States. And I told them
that just wasn't happening.
I told them it's very possible. You know what I mean? Like, because we were putting on events, like we had our psychopathic New Year's party that went over extremely well. There was a lot of juggalos came from all over the place to come to that, you know. And they were hyped, man. They were super hyped. Like, you know, you could see it. It was like it was like ready to pop off, you know. Yeah. But I told him, I said, it's gonna be like a money pit for another couple of years before it gets to where it needs to be. So I was like, what do you know, you really got to make the call, you know. And so he decided to pull the plug on the whole thing, you know, and that's when I came back.
So when you came back, you were still working for Psychopathic here.
Yeah.
But you were just...
I was pretty drained
physically
at that point.
Drained, emotionally drained.
And mentally cracked like an egg, like I said. So, you know, I came back and it was kind of like, there was some of the people at the office at the time where I just had a problem with, like people that personally, you know, weren't taking my calls or, you know, stuff like that. I wasn't giving 100% anymore. And I had too much love for my brother and even Alex, you know, and for the juggalos to be working in the position without giving it at least 100%
Exactly,
effort,
and I will say that all of this did happen well before Alex ended up leaving Psychopathic.
Yeah, he was still there and stuff, so, you know, I basically got everybody together and I told him, I said, man, you know, I'm going to have to take a step back.
That was a sad, sad day.
Yeah, it was. It was a sad day, believe me, for me. It was a sad day. For me especially, you know, so that's when I left, you know. Okay. And the whole time I've been gone, like, I still been doing work for Psychopathic. Like, I do a lot of the written work, you know, the stuff that appears in the albums, covers, you know.
I know you wrote intros for the past 2 cards.
Oh, yeah. Like, Joe would call me up, and he'd be like, man, we need this intro, you know. You know, and he'd want to keep that same formula for the magic going. Right. You know what I'm saying? So, and I was always down to help out, you know, and you know, and I've always been there, like doing kind of like work on the side, you know, because I've always had love.
Besides that, you were out saving lives, legitimately saving lives.
I went on to be an EMT, you know,
like for real, saving lives, of course.
And I love the job, you know. It was kind of like similar to what I was doing here. Like I always got a lot of karma working at Psychopathic because I was providing entertainment for others. Is how I looked at it. So it was always like awesome, you know, like at the end of the day I felt so good, you know what I mean? Because and then when I became an EMT it was similar, you know, I'm helping people, I'm saving lives, you know, I'm doing that on a daily basis.
Fulfilling.
So it's very fulfilling, you know, and I think that's part of my character is I always have to do stuff for others, you know what I mean? Like, and in order for me to feel, you know, a worth or feel satisfied or whatever, you know, feel that karma, you know.
I completely understand. So, with all that said, was there something that happened that actually made you just want to come back to Psychopathic, or was it a series of events? What made you want to return to Psychopathic?
To me, it even goes further back than that. What really got me was when we did Big Money Rustlers. Okay. So we did the movie Big Money Rustlers, which was always my vision from way back. I mean, it was Joe's idea initially, but I was so supporting that idea. Like, we got to do Big Money Rustlers. You know, we have to do it. You know, it was like I was really hyped on it. If and this is like really old school, so like I don't know if some of the newer juggalos might not even know what I'm talking about, but in Bizarre Bazaar, there's a hidden pictures, and if you look in the you pick up the disc tray inside there, there's hidden pictures that show Hack Benjamin, and also it shows Jamie and Paul, you know, twisted on there in some like Western style pictures, you know, and those were my idea. I was like, Joe, we gotta hype up this Big Money Rustlers. I was trying to keep the ball rolling on that, you know. So the reason we didn't do Big Money Rustlers for so long is because the movies never really made us money. They're like $1 million+ to make. And so the movies were one of those things that we always do not to make money, just to do it for the love, like, you know, to put out the flavor for the family and stuff like that. There's a lot of things we do like that over here. Like the radio is another one where we kind of just do it. It's never been a money maker. In fact, the radio kind of has lost money the whole time.
We'll get into the radio.
Let's get into that. There's a lot of stuff that we do that we just do for love, you know what I'm saying? Just to put it out there for flavor.
So did you miss that?
But anyway,
was that the want in you coming back?
No. Well, Big Money Rustlers, when I came down, when Joe called me up and was like, we're doing it, you know, I was like, that's awesome. Like, I was like, that, you know, I've been waiting on that for so long, just like all the juggalos, you know, we've been waiting on that for so long. It was like, all right, great, man, let's do this. So I went down there and I was a part of that, like the whole filming thing, kicking ideas the whole time, and, you know, I really love that.
And I know that
role,
Joe wanted you to do that.
Yeah, he wanted me to do that. You know, he wanted me to do the same thing.
Not only are you Hack Benjamin,
right?
You are a behind-the-scenes producer,
right? And just being there with the whole family again, like being there with everybody, and just like, you know, working with Joe and Joey again, and doing all that stuff. Awesome, man. It was just so karmically satisfying for me that I was just like, this is great, you know what I'm saying? This is just like old times. It was like I'd never even left, you know? So then we did the movie Big Money Rustlers, which was awesome in my opinion. So then the movie itself was awesome. Then we went and did the movie premiere, okay, in Detroit. And so, you know, we put it up on the big screen, and, you know, everybody came out to watch the movie for the first time. And we all came out on stage one at a time, you know, and I was a little nervous about it because I was like, I didn't really know, at that time I had been gone for so long, I didn't know what kind of reaction that I was going to get from the juggalos. But when I came out on stage, it just popped, you know. When I came out on stage, like, it just popped, like the whole crowd just went crazy, you know, like, you know. And it occurred to me at that time that the family, like, no matter what anybody else says, the family was real. You know what I mean? Because you don't forget a fucking family member, you know. And I felt so embraced that I felt like, you know, I was never forgotten. Not only was I never forgotten, I was missed, because that pop was so fucking loud, you know. They were like, man, they went crazy. Like, after we got off stage, Joe was like, man, they fucking went nuts when you came out there. You hear that shit? I was like, hell yeah, man, that's great, you know.
That's awesome.
So it was just a overwhelming feeling of love. And to see Big Money Rustlers, like, actually, you know, filmed and brought to light was just awesome to me. And karmically, I was just taken back, you know, so.
Cool.
So anyway,
so that was kind of like the beginning.
That was like the beginning,
right? To step back in.
Right. That was the beginning of it. And then I did the last two gatherings, and it was the same thing. Like, I hosted the stage 2 years ago, and I hosted the stage at the last gathering, and coming out on stage and like talking to everybody. And
I have to say, you had to give some pretty bad news this past year.
Oh yeah.
And you did it like a pro.
Right.
I was like, how was he going to get up there and tell these?
Yeah, I had
the whole family that we're missing an artist, and you just did the damn thing, and we were all like, dang.
I had to go out there, because I had to go out there and mention that the game wasn't showing up, and go out there and mention DMX wasn't showing up, like back to back, you know. Yeah. And I was like, man, fucking, I'm gonna get killed out there.
I know, we were all like, he's gonna get it. They're gonna be so mad.
But no, I just talked to everybody, and just explain it.
It was one-on-one, and I thought that was really cool.
You know, I'm not gonna say everybody was cool with it, but they were like, all right, you know what I'm saying, like shit happens or whatever. I felt like in the end, everybody
gave it to him nice and light.
Everybody understood, and it wasn't on us. You know what I'm saying? Like on our side, everything was set up. They said they were gonna be there, and they just didn't show. Whatever.
Everyone knows that.
Yeah. But anyway, the gatherings were super love. You know, at the gatherings, the same thing. Just being with everybody, walking around, talking to the juggalos and stuff, and being with the whole Psychopathic family and all the artists, Blaze, ABK, seeing everybody Twisted again. It was just awesome. You know, it was just like, you know, this is just awesome. You know, this is great. You know, so I started. You know, I've been like, it took me about 2 years to really decide to come back, but I felt like my karma was totally rejuvenated. You know, it was where it was at before, and I felt like that. You know, the love had never left, and you know, every time I came back and did a Psychopathic event, it felt like I never left. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I finally decided that, you know, like I talked to Joe, you know, and you know, we went out to eat, and I was just telling him my ideas, and you know, Joe had always been trying to get me to come back. You know what I mean? He was like, man, you're so needed at Psychopathic.
Not only him, everybody at Psychopathic, but
Joe was the one I was mostly talking to, and so he was like, yeah, man, you know, he was like, when I kicked the idea, he was just like, oh man, that's so great. You know what I mean? He's like, and he told me, he said, he told me he felt like together we should have always been doing this. You know, like we started it from the beginning. Like I was there from the very beginning. You know, so he was like, man, I felt like we should always in life. This was like what we were meant to do. Then we should always be doing this together, like working on this together. You know, so I was like, cool. You know what I mean? Let's see. You know, like I felt really good about it. I feel like that. You know, Psychopathic where it is now is cool. You know, I got a lot of ideas for the future, you know, kind of where to direct it towards and stuff. So, and I've been talking to Joe and Billy about it a lot, you know. One of the things I like that we do here that we didn't do the first time around is we have company meetings, you know, where we involve everybody, you know, every Monday, and we involve everybody. Everybody sits around this gigantic table, and, you know, maybe we show a shot of that or something. But, you know, it's a gigantic table, and we get everybody around there, including artists are all invited, you know what I'm saying, if they want to come in and stuff, and we just like we brainstorm like all the ideas and talk about everybody's projects and everybody's working on.
And I think that's really cool because even though every employee has their own personal jobs that they do, that's a time where everyone can put in input, even if that's not your specific job that you're doing. People put in input, and that's what makes not only a successful company but a family. We really are a family here. You know?
No doubt.
Now the question on every Lowe's mind, of course, is will there be another Jumpsteady album? Because not only are you an employee at Psychopathic and you do the damn thing every day, you also rap as Jumpsteady. Will there be another album?
I've been basically slowly working on it, you know.
And you, of course, write and produce your albums.
Yeah, like other people make the beats and stuff, but yeah, I write everything, come up with all the concepts, the song concepts.
So you think you'll have the time and the energy to do that?
Oh yeah,
because I know a lot of
like I'm not working on it. Like I'm almost working on it like, you know, as a labor of love, but as a hobby, you know, something that I do. Like I'll do a song here or there, so it's going to be a while, like maybe a year before it was actually done. But that's the main question.
But it's in the works.
That's the main question people ask me, like at the gathering and stuff. Oh, are you doing something else? You know, and I'm like kind of shy. You like that album? You know, you like that album? It's all right, you know?
Yeah.
Because I really like the Master of Flying Guillotine, you know, when I put that out.
Yeah, I love that album.
Yeah, I thought I put a lot of love and heart. It took me about a year to do that. You know, I'm real slow. Like, you know, with Joe and Joey pump shit out, like, you know, crazy quick, Twisted, all them. You know, they can come in, write a song, and record it one day. Like, it takes me a long time, you know. It's not something that's like a natural ability of mine, you know. But I put a lot of love and heart into it, and, you know, it's got to be done right. And so, you know, I spend a lot of time on it. And I will say that something
that separates your music from everyone else's is that it's really like reading an actual story. Like you get real deep, and your writing is very,
the story raps. The story raps
really
are
interesting about it.
They're one of the most enjoyable things that I like doing. Like in a song where you create a story, like it all comes back to my like role playing background, and I grew up playing Dungeons and Dragons and stuff like that.
Right.
So when I write a song, I like to write.
And for those of you who don't know, this is the creator of the Halls of Shangri-La.
Oh yeah, and Morton's List. Yeah, right. Anyway, when I create a song, I like to take the listener away, where they can listen to the song and visualize, what's going on in the song in their head, so that it creates like almost like a fantasy when they're listening to it. So I think that's all inspired by my role playing background and stuff like that, what I enjoy to do. But so it'll probably take a while, but I definitely want to do another album, and I'm definitely working on it now, but it's just going to take a minute.
That's great news. Yeah. I told your asses first.
Right.
It's coming.
Right, yeah.
I said it first.
It'll just be a minute before it comes out,
I know when you came in to Psychopathic, one of your main focuses was to work on Psychopathic Radio. And I know we've had meetings about it and we're talking about it, but what are your goals for Psychopathic Radio, and when will it be up and running?
I took over with Psychopathic Radio. So, there was DJ Fillon, he was running it and doing a really good job, have been for many years, And
what up, Fillon?
Right. The only problem with it is it was really unappealing, and some of the things I noticed was they were running the show for a really long time, which it could get kind of heavy on your eyes, It's kind of like anything that's done like. There can be too much of a good thing, in other words, you know what I mean? And so, and visually the show was shot in like a purple room and all this and that. So I decided, I started talking to everybody, and we started formulating ideas from everybody of how to make this better. Like, I realized that it could be a lot better than what it is right now, you know what I mean? So, I basically compiled all the ideas from everybody, and even from just talking to juggalos and stuff, what they want to see on the radio station and all that, and we formulated everybody's ideas into one master idea, if you will. We want to make it into visually a more entertaining show. Like we want to take the radio, the camera. We're gonna have more cameras. We're gonna have.
Well, I don't want you to give too many secrets away.
Well, the main thing for
Psychopathic Radio, but I just want to know, is that something that's going to be coming after the new year, and should we expect, like a big bang of Psychopathic Radio?
Yeah, it'll probably be. It probably won't debut until a couple months into the new year.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't really have a
because
release
I know
date
there's
for
a lot of people missing their shows.
We're still. We're still compiling all the equipment. Like we want to update all the equipment.
So it's just going to be bigger, better, and.
Well, the main thing with the show my main vision of the show was to take the cameras outside of that studio a little bit more, because it's like televised or filmed, we want to visually for it to be more appealing, because people are sitting at home watching this. So there's going to be like on the spot interviews, like like news reporter style, people going out and doing interviews, talking to people in their homes or at a show and stuff like that, and then also have a Juggalo news segment. That's some of the bigger ideas we want to have for the show,
Okay.
And we're gonna do two shows. We're gonna do one show which will simply be called the Juggalo Show, which will showcase every Thursday, and that will be a psychopathic show for juggalos by juggalos, you know what I mean? So, and that show will have guests brought on and stuff like that, and things going on that show, and then that show will be taken outside the studio a lot and stuff like that.
Awesome.
So, yeah, and then we'll have the variety show, which will be on Tuesday, which will be all the shows that you're familiar with now. We'll still be running those shows on Tuesday,
So the shows will be back.
Yeah, all the shows will be there. It's just that
we're just gonna change up the format. I don't want you to say anymore.
Okay, fine. But it's a bigger production.
Great.
You know what I'm saying?
That's
overall
something to look forward to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
A lot of people have been wondering about your daughter, Samantha, and I know you get this question a lot. She's been on both of your albums, The Chaos Theory and The Master of the Flying Guillotine, and that was a long time ago. So how is she doing now, and does she have any plans on making her own album?
Oh yeah,
because I know that a lot of people have that question.
She's doing her thing as always. She's going to school right now. Like, I've always been real close to Samantha, you know, and I was really happy to do those songs because for the rest of our lives, we can always reflect back on that. It's something we did together, you know, which is awesome.
And maybe we can even show a picture of our stairwell. There's a picture of you and her.
Oh yeah.
She is small as hell.
Right,
I don't know. It's like at a show at the Gathering or something, and you're holding her, and it's so cute. And now she's like a grown ass girl.
Samantha showed some interest in doing music again, but that's never been her like main passion, you know. And so it's something that, like, when she was real young, I wanted to do those songs to try to instill that spark into her.
Yes.
But I've never pushed her to do one thing or the other. You know what I mean? Like, even though she has all these resources and she can easily, you know, pursue a musical career if she wanted to, I wanted her to like more like follow her heart and see what she wanted to do. And so, yeah, she does have a slight love for music. I mean, she, you know, doing music or something like that. But that's never really been her true passion. You know. So currently, there's no projects lined up for Samantha, even though I get asked that quite a bit too.
Yeah.
You know, because I know a lot of juggalos and you know, have been asking me. They're like, man, we thought Samantha was going to be the first female psychopathic artist.
And she's gorgeous.
Right?
I mean,
oh yeah.
She's like a supermodel.
Oh yeah.
So.
Yeah. Which has caused me.
She should be the first juggalo supermodel artist.
Right. Which has caused me a lot of problems. You know, with knuckleheads trying to come around and you know, whatever. But yeah, it's another matter altogether. But yeah,
well, I'm glad to hear she's doing well. So currently, I know she is, but
yeah, currently right now there's nothing really slated for her to come out, or you know, she's not working on anything.
Okay.
You know, so okay.
All right.
All right. And thank you very much for doing the interview.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
See you guys next time on Sugar Slam Sideshow, only on the app. Peace out.